Morning, it's Tasha Belix here. I'm a registered psychologist in Calgary, Alberta, and it's Tasha Talks to Teens. I wanted to offer an idea that a young person might use, or maybe it could be a conversation between a teacher and students, or parents and their teenager. There are so many young people that I'm seeing on a clinical front, and also noticing even within my own family and with my own teenagers, that are really struggling with low mood and more youth than ever before meeting criteria for depression. And by no means is this in replacement of checking in with a family doctor or reaching out to a mental health professional in your world. But there are some things that we can do when we might feel quite powerless and really lost for some direction on how we can support our young person, or even if we're a teenager and we're struggling, what are some things that are within my grasp that might actually build some resilience and shift my mood a little bit. So we can't mess around with brain chemistry just on our own. And for sure, there are some people that are more susceptible for depression just because of how their brain chemistry works. Sometimes it's also really dependent on the dynamics within a family. And those two pieces we're not going to address in this Tasha Talks to Teens. But the one other domain that's really critical for mood is how we fit into our social world. And when that doesn't feel as connected and as full as we want it to be, that can really lead to a sense of disconnection, which we know is one of the critical pieces that finding reconnection and a place to belong is a building block of really strong mental health, period. So I wanted to show you an activity that I often do, and they're called circles of support. So it's kind of like taking a snapshot of who's in your life. So imagine you are in the middle and you want to think of those connections that you have that fill you up, that give you a sense of belonging. And it may be your family. It might be one person in your family that's a bit closer than another. So you might pop them wherever it feels comfortable. So the closer you are to the center, that's you would value or get more positive impact from that relationship. And then the further out, they might still be there as a support, but maybe not as close or as consistent as they have been in the past. And so think of those people. They might be friends, relatives. It might be a connection at school. It could be at your place of worship. It could be summer camp connections or people from your sport, former coaches, mentors. So you want to brainstorm all those possible places that you fill yourself up and have support, and be exhaustive. Like when you think you've got, okay, that's all I can think of 3 more people or 3 more places where you might get filled up. And then you really want to start being critical of what your circles of support look like. And so you may have, especially if you're doing, say, online learning right now, not the same connection where you get to touch base with your favorite teacher and sit around in the cafeteria and laugh with people. So how do you so some of our supports that might have been really close may have actually kind of moved out. So they're not there for us to access in the same way. But then you want to get creative. Is there a way I could still connect or make meaning on an online format, or going on a walk, or reaching out through email to bring some of those supports closer to me again? And there for sure are people sometimes that were like, hey, that, my long lost friend or that best buddy in the neighborhood, we've gone to different schools, I've really lost connection with them. But under the circumstances, I could imagine that they might be as lonely as I am, or as bored as I am, or disconnected. Maybe I can find a way to reach out to them through text and go on a walk with them. So at least I've got that social connection and I've got something to kind of look forward to. And know that some of the things that we've leaned on through, the last 10 months of the pandemic, some of them can be really healthy influences, and some of them may have started off as a healthy influence, or a way to cope that wasn't really problematic, that might be slipping more into something that's actually harming us or kind of toxic. So you may have a person in your life that is a friend of yours that actually you realize it's kind of toxic, it's one-sided or inconsistent, and that might be actually weighing on your mood. And so it doesn't mean cut that person off, kick them out of your life, but you may start problem solving and thinking about, how could I spend less time with this person? What do I need to do so that I can keep my resources up and my energy up so that I'm not depleted after I see them? I would say this is kind of snuck into lots of teenagers' lives too, with maybe spending way more time than normal on social media, maybe going down the Netflix flicks like binge hole, or playing even far too many video games, where it's crossed the line from this was great and fun and therapeutic and I'm being with my friends, to now it's actually harming me. I'm not getting out in the sunshine. I'm not eating as much as before. Some of the messages that I'm seeing on media are actually making me feel crappier about myself. And so notice that there's no blame in it, no judgment. It might just be one of those things that you want to shift a little bit. I think pot smoking has creeped into some people's lives too. And again, I'm not going to judge one way or the other on whether that's part of your life or not. But with everything, sometimes themes can start to get bossier and play a bigger role in our life than we really want. And know that that is a wiggle place with support and holding yourself accountable, where you can push some of those not so great elements out of your life so that you kind of have a circle of support that really works for you. And so I know one of the things that I've really been leaning on are old TV shows that I used to like to watch. I'm rewatching them. And I hear that from lots of young people. Oh, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy again. I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And know that there's no harm in that. If it's familiar and it feels really comforting, that's part of your social network, or something that sort of fills you up. But I would challenge you to find some things that actually connect you with people, preferably if it was a way that you could hear their voice. If you could see them in real time, that would be even better. But under the circumstances, maybe writing postcards back and forth to a friend or a cousin that lives in another country might really be part of how you're filling up your support system. And there is nothing wrong if right now your parents are your best friend. It's kind of happening for lots of us. And it's tough. I know that that's the last thing usually teenagers want to be doing. It's a time in our development when we actually want to be breaking out of our family connections, and not that we break away from them, but we want to build new connections with our peers. And it's really tough to do that right now. So my heart goes out to everybody. I know it's really tough. I know it is. And a tool like this may be a place to start a conversation so that you've got more in your life. And it feels like there's things that you can look forward to, and some purpose, and a place where you really feel like you belong, because it absolutely is something that we all deserve. So thanks for watching. People that are here, please spread this message around, and know that there are lots of former Tasha Talks to Teens on Facebook with free mental health interventions that are all based in neuroscience and best practices in psychology. If you have any questions and want to reach out for support or have any ideas on some topics that would be really helpful, know that I am 100% dedicated to making sure that everybody has access to really good, free mental health interventions. It's the only way that we're going to get through the next months, and who knows how long the pandemic will last. But I think never before has there been a time where we've been really asked to step up to the plate and share whatever resources we have with people to better our entire community, so we all get through this okay. Until next time, remember to breathe and be well. Bye for now.